Bet you thought you were through with listening to my nerdy voice, didn't you? Well, you were wrong. I'm State and I'm back with yet another awesome Let's Play Live a Live video update. For those of you who haven't watched the rest of these, or haven't read the thread, well, too bad, you're not going to know what's going on. For the rest of you, as you can see, I'm already getting myself set up here. Now, once I've completed the last chapter, which was a nice chapter that we unlocked after we did all the other chapters, we go back to the character select screen again. And I can select any one of these characters as the lead for the final chapter. Anybody, the caveman, the cowboy, even the robot. But you notice there, somebody I'm avoiding highlighting just at the moment, yeah, it's Cloud, the villain, the Demon King himself, or whatever it is he declared himself as at the end of his chapter. Now you probably notice here, we got some lightning strikes. Something's very strange. Yes, but well, you know, he's evil, so he's got the lightning strikes because he decided to be evil. You know, evil gets all the cool special effects and the neat uniforms. So now that he discovered that he can talk, which he didn't do for most of his chapter until the very end. Oh wait, he's talking about humans and how evil they are, like it's free propaganda. Let's see. You see, now that's just not true. Animals kill for all kinds of reasons. Territorial and mating disputes, questions of descent. Frankly, animals will kill each other just for fun, too. I mean, that's a falsehood. That's an urban legend that animals only kill when they're hungry. A predatory animal will pretty much just kill for fun, because they're just kind of wired to kill things. If they see a target of opportunity, they will go after it, even if they're not hungry. There's the mouse right there. Hopefully I'll move that at some point. It doesn't show up when I'm actually recording, so I guess we're just going to have to deal with it. I think I'll probably move it at some point. I gotta hope. So, Cloud has descended down into this really neat looking chamber with the bosses from all the previous chapters in it. An interesting note here is that he's going to talk here in a minute about something that doesn't make much sense to me. Let's see. He talks like this. He almost talks like, when he talks about humans and stuff, he talks like he was never human to begin with. But there's no evidence of that, because they didn't really give any of these characters much of a backstory. Alright, so he's talking about all that stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Angsty, emo, whiny MySpace crap. Alright, so says he's going to change history, but the majority of these bosses don't exist yet. Like, several of them at least 4 of them don't exist yet. So I don't know what's up with that. So, in order to show you this ending, this is probably the worst possible ending to get for the game. So, the good news is it doesn't take very long to get, and it's actually, you would never get this ending unless you really put some thought into it. So we'll just sort of go right here. I selected one of these bosses to play as. So I'm going to be playing as the ODO dinosaur. Yeah. So the second ending is going to be me going through and winning all of these boss fights. I'm going to trim it down into one 10-minute video montage of me beating all the bosses. So, as we can see here, we're reliving the moments leading up to the final boss fight for the Caveman Fred's chapter. I selected this chapter for one of several reasons that you'll see in a second. Now, something I didn't realize until I was controlling him is that thing curling up behind is a tail. I actually thought that was a nose horn for some reason, but as you can see, it's actually his tail. And we've got a monkey flinging poo at me. It's just mean. Just mean. There's going to be quite a bit of poo flinging in this particular adventure. ODO Odio's going nuts, moving back and forth, like he owns the joint. And as you can see, she hits pretty hard, and that's actually the reason I chose this chapter, is because this is the largest group that fights a boss in the game, and it's also some of the hardest hitters, and it's the first boss fight you have if you play the game in the logical, chronological order. So anyway, I'm going to fight here. Or I'm going to stand here. You notice I'm not hitting back. That's also, well, not necessary. It's probably fairly important because, well, we'll get into that in a moment. We did this roar attack, which does 1 damage to me. There's a lot of 1 damage attacks that get done to you in the course of these fights. Because this is my 4th time going through this, and the 3rd boss I experimented with, and this is the one I arrived at as being the most efficient at getting this particular ending. Alright, and you notice the run option is changed to Armageddon. So, the concept of this ending is that Cloud goes back in time to fight in the stead, or aid in the fight somehow, of all these different bosses, all these different incarnations of Odio. And being unable to win one of these fights, he instead decides to destroy all time and space, which really doesn't make any sense. How do you lose a fight if you're capable of altering space and time and traveling through time and all that junk? I don't understand. Sorry about the mouse, I guess it never got moved. It's dead center too, which is kind of strange. I don't know how it got there. But anyway, this is the equivalent of overturning the cosmic checkerboard, because you couldn't win a fight. It's crazy. Just poor sportsmanship. You try to prove some sort of point, and then you lose, and so you have a little hissy fit about it. It's just not cool, man. Just not cool. And now we're in the credit sequence. As long as we're in the credits, I might as well take a moment to discuss my thoughts on the game in general. This is an interesting game. It's very high concept in terms of, what they're trying to do. And it's kind of neat that they have 8 different narratives in 8 different chapters and 8 different time periods and all that. But what really gets me is, because they do that, I felt that the game really kind of got shortchanged, because nobody has any sort of decent backstory. Nobody has any real background. You get maybe a little bit about, what they do or what their motivation is. But for the most part, these characters seem mostly hollow and unfounded, especially Cloud, who doesn't have any background at all, other than he's some sort of generic knight, which I guess is appropriate if you consider, the classic 80s era RPG and adventure games where the hero often didn't have any backstory at all. And of course, Nintendo's a long-standing tradition of mute heroes, even in non-RPGs, because, I don't know, they feel for some reason that heroes have to be mute. Because, I don't know, they don't want to give them any character, because giving them character would actually limit their use as a commercial vehicle. Anyway, but that's enough ranting about characters not talking and all that kind of thing. I found this ending to be very interesting. This is one of the more strange endings I've ever seen in a game. Basically, it's, as I said, overturning the cosmic checkerboard because you lost a fight. I thought it was very neat that they put that in there as an option, even though, as I stated, unless you know what you're looking for, you'd never find that ending. You'd never even think to look, down at that run option turning into Armageddon when you're losing a fight. Anyway, that's about the end for this chapter. I'll see you real soon again with a video montage of the next chapter. Of the next ending. That's the Cloud proves his point and wins ending, for anybody who cares. And I'll also talk a little bit about the 4th ending at the end of that video. And that's all. Goodbye.